Boy. Blah, blah, blah. There's a group that believes everyone on the earth is under a conspiracy, that there are powerful entities looking to withhold the truth from them, and that if people knew these realities, that everything would change. It would be life altering. They also believe that Antarctica goes around the entire Earth in a circle, in an ice wall, and that Australia doesn't exist, and that Australians are holograms. These people believe the Earth is flat. So, in the interest of fairness, not everyone who believes the Earth is flat believes both of those things. But there are people that do. So, the truth, by definition, is 1A, the body of real things, events, and facts, actuality. Truth, 1B, a judgment, proposition, or idea that is true or accepted as true. And truth, second definition, the property as of a statement of being in accord with fact or reality. Now, I don't think I have to tell you that the earth is not flat. But the quality of truth, meaning the actual word, the idea of truth itself, is that it's reality. It's what we say. We will want to express that what we're saying is in line with reality. What these people believe is not in line with reality. It matters because reality doesn't depend on us. It doesn't depend on whether or not they believe that the earth is flat. It doesn't depend on whether or not they believe that Australia doesn't exist and Australians are a hologram. What matters is that reality does exist, though, whether or not they believe it. But in order to find it, everyone, no matter what the reality is that they're looking for, they need to go look for it. It doesn't matter if everyone in the entire world believes that the earth is flat. It's not, because that's not reality. Reality, again, isn't defined by us. It's not defined by what someone sincerely believes. It's not defined by what or how many people believe something. Everyone in the world can believe it. It doesn't matter. That's not what makes reality real. So to find reality, it takes work. We need to go find it. But the responsibility will always be on us. So someone tried that. The Earth has a curve, obviously, and at a certain point, if you travel the curve of the Earth between 2 points, then the Earth will be in the way if you try to look between the 2 points, right? But if the Earth is flat, then it doesn't really matter how far you go. You should be able to see the other point. So there's a stretch in England, I believe. It's called the Old Bedford River. It has a stretch of 6 miles that's uninterrupted, free of obstruction. So in 1838, Samuel Robotham was trying to prove that the Earth is flat. And he conducted this experiment. So he had someone get on a boat, and then he had them row down Old Bedford River, and he stayed in one spot with a telescope. And it was a pretty simple experiment. If the Earth is flat, then he should be able to see the flag. If the Earth is not flat, then the Earth will be in the way. The Earth is a globe. What do you think happened? He could still see the flag. Now, that's not me lying. I'm not making something up. This actually happened, and he actually could see the flag. So that's pretty convincing. The math was right. He wasn't lying. He accounted for the fact that the river drops and all that stuff. So what he was saying was true. He could see the flag. So that means that everything else is right. Right? Because that's how that works. If one thing is right, and it was, then all this other stuff must be correct. That the governments are in on a conspiracy, that everyone is under this conspiracy, that so many people haven't even realized all these conspiracies that are around them, and that the government is trying to keep people out of Antarctica because they'll find the ice wall, and then Australians really are holograms, which is still hilarious, and I'm going to keep saying it as much as I can, but that's not how it works, right? It's just one reason why the Earth is flat. It might be pretty convincing, but there can be multiple reasons for the same thing. So one reason is the Earth is flat. Another reason is light refracts around the globe, meaning the atmosphere, just like if you stick a straw in water, it refracts the light and it makes the straw look funny. The same thing was happening. Someone else came along and then they disproved it. Now, what do you think is correct? That light is refracting, or that the Earth is flat? It's pretty obvious. But it's obvious because you have a body of evidence against that. You know, because this one fact won't tip the scales in excess of all these other things that you know. Huge body of evidence. So this fact, as convincing as it might be on the surface, it doesn't matter. You know that this does not align with reality because you know about reality. You know that there must be another explanation for the story. Imagine, imagine all you ever knew about the shape of the Earth was that it's flat. That right there was the Old Bedford River experiment. What would you do? What conclusions would you draw? It might seem crazy, all the things that I just said. The governments are in a conspiracy, Australians are a hologram, but it doesn't matter because that's the fact that you know. And again, it was a fact. It's not that he was cheating. It's not that he like fudged the numbers somehow. It was very simple. Point A, point B, could see, flat, could not see, globe, and he could see it. But the problem is, it's not simple to find reality all the time. Sometimes it takes a lot of work. But that responsibility will only ever be on us. And it sucks because it's so much work. Because there is no way to offset that responsibility onto someone else. We have to find it. We have to have the bodies of evidence to examine it. But reality is so important to understand. It's what we base our life on. Truth is so important. So it's worth the effort of doing that. But there's no way to know what reality is without the body of evidence to compare. And sometimes you have to compare two or more bodies of evidence. And it's not easy. It can be a lot of time. It can be a lot of effort. But at the end of the day, the only person that will ever be responsible for your decisions and what you believe in reality is you. So unless you take that time, how can you be sure? How can you ever know if all you have is the boat? Where's the other body of evidence? Imagine someone who was born into a family that believes the earth is flat. Totally believes it. So their family, their friends, everyone around them believes it. Everything that they know will reinforce what they believe. If it's good, meaning something like the Bedford experiment, then great. They already knew that. The earth is flat and it's just one more thing. If it's bad, then it's a conspiracy. And they believe that the most powerful forces in the world are in on the conspiracy, so it doesn't matter. Of course they're going to believe that. It doesn't matter what they see on the news. It doesn't matter what NASA tells them. They believe that they're up against insurmountable odds. But this also gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of helping people, a sense of meaning in their life. What would you say to someone like that? You, personally, what would you say to someone who believes these things when it doesn't matter what you say? It's almost impossible. There's no way to do that except we're taking time. It takes time to establish this other body of evidence. They have their body of evidence already. So they have some points that are terrible, but they have some points that are understandable. Even if you don't agree with them, at least you can see why they would be so powerful. But without this other body, how are you supposed to explain to them what reality is? The only thing that you can do is show them the door. At Proverbs 18:17 says, "The first to state his case seems right, until the other party comes and cross-examines him." The first, the boat, it seems right if you never walk through the door and find the other body of evidence. But again, that's the hard part. It will always be up to us to find that other body, and it doesn't matter if everyone around us believes that the earth is flat. It doesn't matter if that's all we've ever known. Reality isn't changed by what we believe. We could die believing that the earth is flat. It doesn't matter. That's not what determines what reality is. There are constant truths in the world. They're very powerful to know. To know a global truth, to know a piece about reality, which is true across almost everything. For example, math is a constant in reality. People went to the moon and came back based on math. We actually shot people into space, and then they came back to Earth based on a constant. Truths about the Earth, about the world we live in, about reality, they work the same way. There are so many large questions in life, and it takes work to get them, to get the answer to them. But you have to have both bodies of evidence. Unless you do, you could never know. Global truths, to understand some, are powerful just by themselves. But believing that we know something already, a global truth, it makes things simple. And simple can feel safe. It can be dangerous because then we can excuse ourselves from thinking about things. We won't look for the other body of evidence. It's very easy to say some things that just aren't right, but that excuse us. But it doesn't matter if they're not true. And all it takes is for one thing, one single flaw in a global truth, and it's no longer a global truth. To make a blanket statement about people, about a certain kind of people, about people we might know, about a group of people, I'm not talking about negative or positive. I just mean a statement. A global truth can be powerful, but it is easy to miss nuance. Humans have two legs. Okay, seems pretty obvious as a global truth. But it's not true. Some people are born with one leg or no legs. That is no longer a global truth. Now you might say, well, that seems like it's kind of splitting hairs at that point. Okay, but it's not true. That statement is no longer true, even if it's true in the vast majority of cases. A global truth, a true global truth, is powerful. But we have to be very careful about what we label as a global truth. Because, again, it is so easy to dismantle if just one thing is wrong. There are two more definitions I want to talk about. Emotional blackmail involves using another party's guilt, fear, or sense of obligation to pressure them to comply with a demand. Signs may include withholding affection or threatening retaliation to get compliance. That's just the first thing that came up on Google for emotional blackmail. The second thing is off of Wikipedia. Love bombing is an attempt to influence a person by demonstrations of attention and affection. It can be used in different ways and for either positive or negative purposes. Psychologists have identified love bombing as a possible part of a cycle of abuse and have warned against it. It has also been described as psychological manipulation in order to create a feeling of unity within a group against a society perceived as hostile. A little further on, it says love bombing is a coordinated effort, usually under the direction of leadership, that involves long-term members flooding recruits and newer members with flattery, verbal seduction, affectionate but usually non-sexual touching, and lots of attention to their every remark. So, two definitions. So before the memorial, right before it, it's kind of a suspect time, I started to get messages, even a letter, from people that I care about very much. Out of the blue. I was bewildered. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't feel loved. I felt confused. And it was very confusing after 7 years. But honestly, if you were honest, picturing it from my side of things, what did you think I would respond with after 7 years? Because it has been such a long time. I'm obviously still here. I had to rebuild my life without you. I had to move forward. And you might say, well, whoa, that's not fair. You walked away from us. All you have to do, and you know that you have to do it, is just come back to our loving congregations that we can talk to you. We want to love you. We want to be affectionate to you. We have all this love stored up in our heart, and we just want to express it. All you have to do is come back. And I would say, all you have to do is admit that Hawaiian pizza is the best kind of pizza. With some pepper and ham, and you got the juicy pineapple, the sweet with the savory. It's the best kind of pizza, hands down. And I want to express this affection. That's all you have to do. You just have to do that. And you'd say, that's insane. That's not how love works. And you're right, because it's not. That's a love based on conditions. It's not based on the person. Conditional love is not the same as the affection that most people think of. That's the difference between loving someone because they are a good listener You love that quality, a rare quality in someone. You value that. That's the difference between that and saying to someone, you need to be a good listener or else I won't love you. Love is always conditional to a certain extent, like you value something about someone else. But there's a difference between that kind of love and conditional love. The first love is based on the person. It's based on how we feel about them. It's based on something we see that we love about them. The second thing is not. It's based on us. It's based on control, manipulation. I'm not a fan of manipulation. Don't do that. Because that's not how love works, no matter what someone else tells you. It was 7 years. And then out of nowhere, people that I care about very much started contacting me based on something having nothing to do with me. I didn't change. And now suddenly people are talking, to a certain extent anyway. That being said, I love you. And I always will. There will always be a place in my life for you. I had to build my life because I had to move forward. But you can call or text whenever you want to talk to me. Not a simple greeting, not some predefined thing that someone else told you that you could or could not say. You can do that if you want, but it's going to be a very boring conversation and it's not going to go anywhere. Because I'm not a robot. So many people, few of them, said that they had so much that they wanted to talk to me about. It's great. Let's talk about it. I'd love to hear from you. Or don't. That's up to you. But don't put that decision on me. I'm here. And I'll always love you. For you. For who you are. Even though it hurts, especially right now. And it does hurt. It hurts every day. And it has hurt every day. For 7 years. But to go back to who I was would be a lie. A blatant regression. It wouldn't be real. Neither of us wants that. So I'm not going to do that. I still have the boat. I didn't forget what I learned. But now I have so much more to compare it with. I wish I could tell you. But you wouldn't let me. And there's just so much to go over, even if we did. It's not a concise conversation. At some point, I'll be making some videos to clarify why I believe more of what I believe. But it doesn't matter if you watch them. I want you to. But don't think by not watching them, you're getting back at me, or you're showing me something, or you're staying strong and then I'll come back. That's not how reality works. If I'm right, then I'll be right whether or not you watch them. If you're wrong, people can and have sincerely believed something wrong all the way through their life, right up until they died. Of old age. But if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But you won't know unless you look for the other body of evidence. Whether or not that comes from me, it doesn't matter. But it's your choice. It's your life to live, and I respect that in the sense that I won't be cramming anything down your throat. I care about you. I want to talk to you. And I always will. If you don't want to talk about the boat, we don't have to. But this is all I can do. It's your choice. The rest is up to you. The last 7 years of not talking to me have been your choice. I'm here, and I'll always be here. I hope to hear from you.